Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Trisha and today on the Aspiring Home Cook, I'm going to be baking some chicken burgers. Now putting the burgers themselves together is a really simple task and anyone can do it. I'm going to show you today how I make my version of a chicken schnitzel, which is a beautifully flavored little piece of chicken that is crumb fried to make the most delicious burger filling. Now before we head on to the kitchen and take a look at that recipe, if you're new here and you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to my channel, and once you do, click that little bell icon so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Alright, so let's head on over to the kitchen and get started. We're going to start off with prepping our chicken today. I'm using 2 chicken breast fillets. And I'm first going to trim off any excess fat on there. A little bit of fat is fine, but I like to trim off larger chunks that I see. These breast pieces are fairly thick, so I'm going to carefully slice them into thirds. Be very careful when you're using your knife here. You don't want to cut through your hands. And you want to make sure that your knife is angled downwards towards the board and not upwards towards your hand so that you don't cut yourself. Now, I know that there are folks that also just use a meat beater to flatten it down till it reaches about half an inch thickness or a thickness that they like. I find it a lot easier to just cut the piece of meat like this and trim it down to size. So there are some pieces that I will leave whole and some that I'll actually cut down to smaller bits. Work with the size that works well for you. Now with my chicken all prepped up, it's time to marinate. I'm going to start off by seasoning it with a little salt, some black pepper powder to taste. I'm going to go in with a little bit of ginger and garlic paste now. That's about half a teaspoon of ginger paste and 1 teaspoon of garlic paste. Squeeze a little bit of lemon juice over it. And trust me on this one, just a touch of soy sauce. It adds a beautiful flavor to the chicken and balances out all the other flavors really well. Now I'm just going to spice this up a little more by adding some red chili flakes. You can use fresh chilies finely chopped if you'd like, or dried red chili flakes will work really well too. Now again, this doesn't add too much heat, just a little bit of flavor to the marinade. And I'm going to mix everything well so that all the chicken pieces are coated well with all the seasonings in the bowl. Okay, now that that's done, you're just going to leave this aside for about 15 minutes or so to let those flavors develop a little. After those 15 minutes are passed, start off by warming a little oil in a pan. We're going to deep fry these schnitzels so that they cook through evenly on all sides. I'm also going to get my breading station ready. So in a bowl, I've just cracked in 1 egg and I'm just going to use a fork and whisk it till the egg and the yolk has nicely combined. Now once that's done, you're going to need 2 slightly more shallower vessels. I'm just using smaller plates. Now in one plate, I'm just going to place a little bit of all-purpose flour or maida. Start off with a little. You can always add more later. I'd rather add this flour in stages rather than having to throw out a lot of excess flour on the plate. And in the second plate, I've got some breadcrumbs. Again, start off with a little. You can always add more crumbs to the plate as you need to. Now my oil has heated up. I know that the chicken pieces will fry off really well. What we're going to do is first start by dipping those pieces into that flour. Dust off any excess and dip that piece into the egg. Now ideally, use one hand for your wet ingredients and the other one for your dry. That way it makes it a lot easier to work with these pieces of chicken and you don't lose a lot of the breadcrumbs to clumping. You're going to now dip that chicken piece in the breadcrumbs and make sure that it's well coated on both sides. And we're now going to go over to the stove to fry this off. Now over here I've got a shallow cast iron pan and in there I've got about 1 inch of oil, not too much, but this is sufficient for what we're doing today. And that oil has heated up really well. I'm just going to gently drop those schnitzel pieces in there and let them fry off till they're a nice beautiful golden brown. Remember to heat your oil on a medium heat and continue the frying process on some medium heat as well. Develop a nice color while the chicken on the inside cooks through perfectly. Now, when the chicken has browned on one side, carefully flip it over onto the other side. You can use a pair of tongs if you'd like to. I just find it a lot more convenient to use a pair of forks to do this. And you're going to let the chicken cook off on that second side as well. Now you can see why it's important to have slightly thinner pieces of chicken when you're cooking your chicken this way. That's so that it cooks off really quickly. Now you can see we've got beautiful color on both sides. I'm going to drain off any excess oil and place these pieces of chicken on some absorbent kitchen paper just to drain off any excess oil. And you're going to continue this process until you've cooked up all your chicken. Today I'm using these beautifully fried pieces of chicken schnitzel to make some burgers. I've got here the usual. I've got some homemade mayo and some tomato ketchup. I'm also going to add a little bit of sriracha sauce. You can use any hot sauce that you like. Now, my burger buns are store-bought today, but I will soon share a recipe for homemade burger buns as well. At the start, you can go ahead and lightly warm those burger buns on either side on the stovetop on a warm pan if you'd like. I'm just using them as is today. So I've sliced my burger bun in half. And I've got my fresh vegetable here. I've got some thinly sliced onion and I've separated the rings, some sliced tomatoes and salad greens. That's just baby spinach and baby rocket. Now this is how I like to assemble my burgers. You can go ahead and use any kind of condiments or fixings that you like. This is how we do ours. Start by spreading a layer of mayonnaise on your bread. Next, I'm going to drizzle some tomato ketchup and spread that over, followed by the hot sauce of your choice. Here I'm using sriracha. And we're going in with our veggies now. I'm using my baby spinach and baby rocket leaves here. You can use lettuce leaves if you've got access to those. Any salad greens of your choice work well. Top that up with some tomato slices. Now remember, tomatoes always need a little seasoning. So I'm going to crack a little bit of salt on the slices and go in with some black pepper powder as well. I'm going to top that with a little bit of white onion. This white onion is not as potent as the brown onions, so that's what I'm using here today. And add a nice piece of chicken schnitzel on the top of all your vegetable and your chicken burger is ready. You can also add some cheese at this stage if you'd like. Now, how does that look for a homemade chicken burger? You can see everything that's in there and everything is so beautiful and fresh. I forgot to mention that in here, what adds immense amount of flavor complexity is some pickles. Add a few pickles and pickled jalapenos as well if you can, and that will totally take this burger to the next level. And every good burger calls for some good hot chips or fries. And that's my chicken schnitzel burger for you. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with family and friends that you think might enjoy it too. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to see you really soon with another delicious recipe. So till then, take care. Bye.